There's no doubt that the best way to explore a new city is by bike, especially one as big as Melbourne. Walking sucks, it's just too slow. Fantastic cycling infrastructure and rented bikes open up this great city, and the well-marked 30-kilometre Capital City Trail gives you a great taste of what Melbourne has to offer. I'm in Melbourne. The weather is beautiful and we've hired some bikes. I'm out on a bike ride with Luke and Atticus. So let's get back on my rusty steed. I've got a crumbling old flat bar hybrid. Got a nice view of the city here, crossing over the Yarra River.
Alright, let's go.
I get excited by the change of scene that comes from cycling out of Surrey, where I live, and into the next county. So imagine my excitement at exploring fresh turf 10,000 miles away from Guildford. So today it's great to be somewhere totally new, on the other side of the world, where the noon sun is in the north, it's nearly Easter but also autumn, and my body thinks it's midnight. We joined the route at the Blue Tongue bike rental shop opposite the South Bank and headed off in an anti-clockwise direction. The paved route was easy enough to follow even for my foggy jet-lagged brain, and in any case my older son Luke lives here, so he knows where he's going. Following the Yarra River upstream takes you past some must-see attractions, including the fantastic National Gallery of Victoria, where we saw a great exhibition on the iconic designers Vivienne Westwood and Ray Kawakubo, as well as some more traditional art, and the tranquil Royal Botanic Gardens. Both are free and well worth a visit. I'm a big believer in bikes for all occasions, whatever you're wearing and wherever you are, and this is just the sort of occasion where no lycra or fancy shoes are required. All you need to do is just hire a bike and go. As a road cyclist, I've been well and truly sucked into an expensive equipment vortex, so it's nice to get back to just hopping on a bike. When you're trying to get your bearings in a new city, walking sucks, particularly if you have arthritis in your feet like me, making all-day pavement pounding pretty uncomfortable. Bikes, on the other hand, are perfect for scoping out a new place, fast enough to cover some ground while connecting you to your environment in a way that cars just don't. Here they come.
I don't know where we're going.
Just follow the bike path, I reckon.
Just go straight.
What do it say?
Yeah, that's
You both
right.
end up at the same spot. Go past there.
And the environment here is gorgeous. Melbourne's a well laid out city with lots of green spaces and plenty of room for excellent cycling infrastructure, which is punctuated by regular water fountains to keep everyone hydrated. The backdrop of birdsong and vegetation are both wonderfully different to what we're used to in England, so our ride was accompanied by squawking lorikeets, magpies and cockatoos sitting in the beautiful eucalyptus trees lining the route. Sailing past the many gum trees along the banks of the Yarra is just a teaser for what's in store if you travel further afield towards Otway National Park that surrounds the Great Ocean Road to the southwest of Melbourne. Here we explored tall, wet eucalypt forests dominated by mountain grey and blue gums and ancient cool temperate rainforests rich in myrtle beech and enormous ferns. Likewise, the coastline is stunning, with lots to see and do, including the Cape Otway Lighthouse that tried its best to stop 19th century ships crashing on the shallow reefs in the Tasman Sea. I'd love to come back and explore this area by bike. Meanwhile, back on our Melbourne Capital City Trail, we crossed back over the Yarra River, where slackliners had been wobbling their way across the water on a sort of flattened, bouncy tightrope. We were starting to get hungry, so we stopped for a delicious lunch at the Farm Cafe right on the banks of the river next to the Collingwood Children's Farm and Abbotsford Convent. Refuelled, we continued our journey along the Yarra River through Yarra Bend Park, which is the largest remaining area of natural bushland in inner Melbourne. It's also home to a huge colony of wild bats. Up to 30,000 grey-headed flying foxes spend their days hanging upside down, chattering in the trees during the day, and every evening at dusk they take off en masse in what's called a fly-out as they spread across Melbourne to feed. We witnessed this extraordinary sight one evening as we drove across town in Luke's car. It was like being in a Stephen King horror movie. These animals, also known as fruit bats, are huge megabats compared to the tiny bats I sometimes see back at home. They're the largest in Australia, with a wingspan of up to a metre. They're harmless to humans and in fact are listed as vulnerable to extinction and are critical pollinators and seed dispersers for native trees, so are helping to maintain the ecosystems across the region. Where are you taking me, Luke?
You're about to see.
The best place in Melbourne, you say?
All the world.
The world.
It's on this sign over here.
It's for you. It's your place. Do you know why it's called the Colson Reserve?
No.
In case you hadn't guessed, Luke's surname is Colson, and the Colson Reserve is named in honour of an E. Colson who served as Mayor of Collingwood between 1907 and 1908. He must have made quite an impression to get his own park after just a year of work. The route then took us through the Linear Park Reserve, a lovely green corridor along a disused railway line that provides an excellent active travel artery across the city, connecting the well-used public transport lines that radiate out from the centre to the suburbs. The trail passes through trendy Fitzroy with its traditional Victorian houses fringed with steel lacework, and crosses over Rathdown Street with its tree-lined central reservation that leads to the Melbourne Museum. Getting around Melbourne was made even easier by the fact that all trains and trams in the whole area were completely free for the month of April. What a brilliant way to tempt people out of their cars and onto public transport. The bike path by the railway line also skirts around Melbourne Zoo, which we didn't visit, opting instead for larger, wilder Werribee Open Range Zoo on our way to the Great Ocean Road. We also spotted kangaroos and even a koala in the wild, but failed to see any snakes despite warning signs everywhere. As we neared the end of the trail, the landscape became more urban, with wildlife sightings limited to shiny insect-like lycra-clad cyclists. Melbourne has a healthy, active vibe about it, and the bike-friendly infrastructure, including priority for cyclists crossing side streets marked in bright yellow, certainly makes it easier to ride safely across the city. The new bright green cable-stayed bridge over Footscray Road in Melbourne's Docklands is the latest brilliant addition to the city's cycle network. This 220-metre structure is designed for safe, separated and direct access to the city centre, bypassing a huge spaghetti junction of busy roads. The final run back into the centre of the city took us past the Marvel Stadium and through the Docklands area. Central Melbourne has lots to offer, including the bustling Queen Victoria Market, where we successfully found fruits we'd never heard of, and the State Library of Victoria, with its collection of ancient books and outdoor chess set that kept my sons occupied for a full hour. Those holes are very big, aren't they? Well, please don't. Eating and shopping opportunities are endlessly varied, and the city has a happy, cosmopolitan vibe with strong Asian influences.
That fish!
Yeah.
There's a fish up ahead.
That's a cool fish.
I would make one meal.
Make a big
Very
sandwich.
Yeah. I wonder what type of fish it is.
John Dory.
That's quite a surprise.
The John Dory sculpture is one of 72 created to represent each competing nation for the 2006 Commonwealth Games held in Melbourne. Each sea creature is significant to the country in question. This one paired with New Zealand, where John Dory are fished from the North Island waters where they live. We got back to Blue Tongue Bikes with 4 minutes to spare on our 4-hour bike hire, having covered all 30 kilometres of the capital city bike trail. So no blistering times for this ride, just a thoroughly enjoyable family day out exploring fantastic Melbourne. Thanks very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you on my next cycling adventure, and remember, walking sucks.